Good day folks, Sean here from Air Photography. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a one-year review of the DJI Air 2S. The Air 2S was released 1 year ago today on April 15th, and quickly for myself and many others, it became my go-to drone. If we go back a year before that, they released the original Air 2, and it was a pretty solid drone as well. I was flying it more than even my Mavic 2 Pro at the time. For me, it just had the perfect blend of price, performance, and portability. The only thing I was missing on it was the 1-inch sensor from the Mavic 2 Pro. Well then, of course, 1 year later they introduced the Air 2S, and with it they introduced a new 1-inch sensor, which took an already incredible drone and just made it even better. On top of that, we got those new obstacle avoidance sensors at the top, which allowed the drone to fly a little faster while still retaining obstacle avoidance. Now, as we're well into 2022, one question I do get asked quite a bit about the Air 2S is whether it's still a good purchase. After all, it is a year old. Is there something new and better coming down the pipe? On top of that, we've also had some new drone releases. The Autel Evo series, we have the Mavic 3 Pro, and the DJI Mini 3 is just around the corner, or perhaps it's already out by the time you're watching this video. But in my opinion, dollar for dollar, this is still the best drone on the market that you can buy. Of course, the Mavic 3 does have a better camera and some really nice specs, but it does come in at a little bit more than double the cost. So for most people, average drone hobbyists, something like the Air 2S is the perfect choice. You get all of DJI's flight characteristics, safety features, and of course you get that 1-inch sensor now, which produces stunning aerial photos and videos. On top of that, the transmission system on the Air 2S is OcuSync 3.0, or O3 as DJI calls it now, and in reality it's probably still the best transmission system available. Autel has come a long way with their transmission system, but definitely the OcuSync works a little bit better. Just get a good solid connection, good range, and even if you're flying in a busy Wi-Fi congested area, such as an urban center, you're still going to maintain a fairly decent feed. Now when people message me or ask me what drone they should buy, it's not always such an easy cut and dry answer. Everybody's needs are different. For example, if you're a person who needs a drone that's under 250 grams, depending on the regulations in your country, obviously the Mini 2 here or the Mini 3, the upcoming Mini 3 would be your best choice. On top of that, if you just need a drone that is super light and portable, or you don't want to spend a lot of money, then again, something like the Mini 2 is your better choice. On the other hand, if image quality, low light performance, and battery time is your top priorities, then something like the Mavic 3 here is maybe a better choice for you. But as mentioned, it does come in with a very hefty price. But then when we go back to the Air 2S, it just sits nicely in the middle. It's affordable for most people. It can produce stunning images and videos. The low light performance on it is decent because it does have a 1-inch sensor. The only difference is the flight time is not quite as good as the Mavic 3. Mavic 3 is rated for 46 minutes. Now, you're not going to get that in real world situations. The Air 2S is only rated for approximately 30 minutes, somewhere in there, but you can always compensate for that by purchasing a few extra batteries. So for many people, it really is the perfect choice, and as a bonus, you don't have to wait for 10 minutes to get a GPS lock. Now, if you're brand new to drones, perhaps you're watching this video because you're doing a little bit of research on which drone to purchase, I'm going to go over what I really like about the Air 2S. Now, of course, I've already talked about some of the features why I like it, but one of the features that really drew me to this drone was a set of tools called Focus Track. Focus Track was first introduced on the original Air 2, and of course it carried over to the Air 2S and now on to the Mavic 3 as well. But basically it's a set of 3 tools: Active Track for tracking, Point of Interest, and a feature called Spotlight. Now when it comes to tracking, I'm not a person who does a lot of tracking. There's not a lot of activities I do where that would come in handy, but a lot of people do use it, and it is decent with the Air 2S. You do have to watch because it doesn't have side sensors, so in some situations you do have to take precautions. But Point of Interest is a very useful tool. With it you can select a subject. From there you can then set which direction it's going to rotate, and as it rotates around the subject, you can use the control sticks to adjust the height and even the distance. It's a really good tool and it actually works quite well. But my favorite tool in Focus Track is something called Spotlight. Spotlight is very similar. You can select a subject on the screen, but from there you have full flight control. So you would just fly the drone like you normally would. You can raise your altitude, you can fly backwards, sideways, forward, and the drone is going to do its best to keep the subject front and center. And why I like it is that it allows you to get some really interesting shots. Shots that are normally pretty hard to replicate. Now, of course, these are things that you can do on your own, and it is a good idea to practice that. But if you're just out doing some quick run and gun shooting, it just allows you to get some really interesting dynamic shots. So it is a great set of tools and very easy to use. So when you package everything together, tools like Focus Track, of course on top of that we have master shots, quick shots, We can do panoramas and hyperlapses. There is a lot of incredible tools built into this drone to allow any pilot to capture some pretty incredible content. And then when you combine that with all the built-in safety features, like return to home, fail-safe return to home, obstacle avoidance, it really is a great choice for both beginners and even experienced drone pilots. Now, over the past year, I have flown this drone in many different weather conditions. I live in Canada, so I spend a lot of time flying in the cold. So having a drone that can perform in cold weather is very important to me, and this drone has not disappointed in that aspect. The drone's only rated to fly in temperatures of 0 degrees, but personally myself, I have flown it in temperatures much colder than that, and the drone performed just fine. As long as you follow a few simple rules like keeping your batteries warm, keeping your flight short, you're not going to run into really any problems. So all in all, yes, definitely in 2022, the Air 2S is still a great choice. Just due to the specs and performance of this drone, it's going to have a good amount of longevity to it. This drone will still be relevant in years to come. Even as they release new drones, having a 1-inch sensor, the capabilities of this drone, you don't have to worry about it being outdated anytime soon. So yeah, folks, that is my 1-year review of the Air 2S. This drone has been absolutely incredible. It's probably been the drone that I have flown the most, and even though I do own the Mavic 3, I still fly it quite regularly. In fact, I'm going out tomorrow. Me and my wife are going on a day trip, and this is the drone I'm bringing with me, just for the fact that it is a little bit lighter than the Mavic 3, and it's a little bit easier to carry around all day. So it definitely still has its place in my drone arsenal. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and got some value out of it. Give it a thumbs up if you did. It's always greatly appreciated. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos, and we'll see you in the next one.